Hi, it's Jamie, Progressive number 1, number 2 employee. Leave a message at the... Hey, Jamie, it's me, Jamie. This is your daily pep talk. I know it's been rough going ever since people found out about your a cappella group, Mad Harmony, but you will bounce back. I mean, you're the guy always helping people find coverage options with the Name Your Price tool. It should be you giving me the pep talk. Now get out there, hit that high note, and take Mad Harmony all the way to nationals this year! Sorry, it's pitchy.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Leave the world in its own disgrace. Fire against it wanted. Explode in space like a true metal child. We were born to be wild. We can climb so high. I never wanna die. Born to be wild.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Source Material. My name is Jesse Starcher. As we discuss a book that came out, I think I had it listed as 2016.
Okay, the trade that I have is 2017. So yeah, the issues probably came out in
2016. Yeah. So all right, individual issues 2016, trade come out in 2017. So we're talking the Marvel Han Solo series. Obviously, Star Wars is back in popular culture. I don't think it's ever left, but it's clearly getting some new movies released. You know, we just witnessed The Last Jedi here this past winter. Something's coming up here, Mark Radlich, and it kind of ties into my next question. Why are we discussing the Han Solo series this evening on Source Material?
Well, as you all know, I'm sure, this Friday is the Solo Star Wars anthology movie. The first anthology movie was Rogue One. It was about how the Rebel Alliance got the Death Star plans, and it bled right into A New Hope with the help of some CGI.
Yeah.
And the Uncanny Valley Princess Leia.
Oh, boy.
That's a Red Letter Media joke. Stole that right from them. The first of the anthology movies was Rogue One. As I said, this is their second anthology movie, and so they are in between trilogy episodes. So Rogue One was in between The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. This one will be in between, obviously, The Last Jedi and whatever 9 is. Star Wars, pissing off the fans. You know, or more than likely, considering how things went, Star Wars, The Apology.
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. So we got Han Solo to talk about tonight, and you grabbed this book because clearly it's tying in with something, and it's a more recent.
We did Princess Leia last year, and we did that to sort of celebrate the passing of Carrie Fisher. Yep. It would only make sense that with a movie about the early years of Han Solo, we would do a book that was dedicated solely to him. This is a 5-issue limited series that deals with one of his adventures, just like the one they did with Princess Leia. There's one for Lando, and I'm sure when Donald Glover gets his movie, we'll do that one as well.
Oh, yeah.
There's a Chewbacca one. I mean, almost every single character has their own limited series.
Mm-hmm. So. It's a fun way. It's a fun way for the comics to expand on the universe, just like the books did. Timothy Zahn, right? Did you read the Zahn stuff? Any of the Zahn books?
Oh yeah, the Zahn trilogy. Absolutely, yeah. I read all those novels. They were great.
So, the Star Wars universe isn't just limited to movies, ladies and gentlemen. Believe it or not, there's other media out there. And, of course, Disney owning Marvel and the Star Wars franchise, they're going to give some writers over at Marvel the opportunity to maybe shed some light on some other adventures that these characters have taken. So here's Han Solo. Now, Mark, would you agree that Han Solo is probably one of the most popular characters to come out of Star Wars?
I think that's in very individualized things. Look, some of us connect to Luke Skywalker. Obviously, a lot of girls connect to Princess Leia. Some connect to Padme from the prequel trilogy. Nobody connects to Anakin.
Everyone loves Jar Jar, from what I hear.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think Darth Vader is probably one of the most iconic villains of all time. I think most people know at least the existence of Darth Vader. But as far as the most popular character in the Star Wars universe, like I said, I think that's very individualized. You know, when you're playing Star Wars, some of us want to be the cool Han Solo character. Some of us want to be the space wizard, Luke Skywalker, or, you know, Obi-Wan Kenobi or something like that. Again, a lot of the girls relate to Princess Leia or Padme. You know, and then only the cool people, the really cool people, want to be Boba Fett.
Yeah, buddy. Well, that says a lot for the franchise itself. When you could put out a movie or a series of films where everybody has the opportunity to like someone more than the other, and they will gravitate towards one character, and another person may gravitate towards another.
You know how popular Star Wars is?
Tell me.
So a plot detail from the very first movie, right? Rebels had gotten a hold of the blueprints of the Death Star, and they used it to plan an attack on the Death Star and blow it up.
Yep.
Star Wars is so popular, they took that plot element and made an entire movie out of it. An entire movie out of one single plot point. And that movie did so well. I believe it made over $1 billion in the year that it came out.
Wow.
A movie where you know how it ends.
Yep. You already knew years before.
They get the plans. I mean, there were a lot of people making fun of that idea. But like I said, it speaks to the popularity of Star Wars that people will gravitate to anything, to any movie. I mean, even this Solo movie, you know, it started off pretty rocky. They had to send their lead back to acting school. They had to fire the old directors and bring on Ron Howard, rather. And he had to reshoot like 80% of the movie. And yet this thing is still slated to do extremely well this summer. Disney's making all the money.
Yeah. Yes, they are. Every bit of it. My
So,
gosh.
like I said, if you slap the logo Star Wars on something, I think people will gravitate towards it. And I don't know how well these comics sell versus the vast array of comics that are out there. But I would tell you that people who don't normally collect comics probably still went out of their way to collect the Star Wars comics because it's Star Wars.
Yeah, and also, if you know a little bit about the comics and maybe about some of the statements that they have said, these comics are the canon now. What you're seeing here is the canon. They took the Zahn books that we just mentioned, right, and they threw those out the window, didn't they?
They threw all the books out the window. So I stopped reading them.
Yeah, and that's tough to do. But if you know that it's going to be part canon, that might be a selling point for sure. So, well, let's get into the creative team here real quick. There is so this creative team, this is very interesting, I thought, because I did a little bit of digging yesterday. The writer is a lady. Oh my goodness, homina. A very beautiful lady by the name of Marjorie Liu, and she was according to here, she's born in 1979. It looks like to me she got her writing chops doing a lot of novels at first. Dirk and Steel series. She wrote book 1 through 11 of those. The Hunter Kiss series. None of these I heard. You know, she's definitely wrote some novels, some novellas, but she's also got some comic writing chops as well. She wrote Dark Wolverine, number 75 through 90. 16 issues of Dark Wolverine. She wrote X-23, Black Widow, and Astonishing X-Men. So she's got some mutant related titles, a lot of mutant related titles here, a lot of stuff revolving around Wolverine. But here's the neat thing about Marjorie Liu. Marjorie Liu, she was going to be a lawyer at first and became disenfranchised with it and instead said, screw it, I want to write comics. Now that's a girl I can respect. I'll tell you that right now.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, all right. I pulled this off of Comic Vine, and this is quote straight from her. It says, basically, I was told that the story takes place between episodes 4 and 5. So that's what you're getting tonight, guys. A story that takes place between episodes 4 and 5 of the Star Wars series.
It seems like a lot of these that we've looked at are all books that take, because the Princess Leia one was right after A New Hope.
Right. It took place. I mean, like the panel had that final shot and the New Hope in there.
Right.
So, yes, I was told that the story takes place between episodes 4 and 5, and then they sort of just let me loose. I turned in several different ideas, but the core of them, what I kept at the front of my imagination, he's this working class dude, talking about Han Solo, who lives paycheck to paycheck, who has a business to run. He's the Han we know and love. He's a con artist. He's a smuggler. He's this wisecracking, streetwise dude, but he's got this internal conflict where there wasn't one before. He's really trying to figure out who he is. There you go. That's Marjorie Liu's take on how she was. Go ahead.
I believe she also said that Han Solo was a grinner, a lover, a sinner. That he was playing music in the sun. That he's a joker, a smoker,
and a midnight toker.
Yes. And he gets his loving on the run.
Okay, those
Did you know that in many of the canon books that have come out since The Force Awakens, that Han Solo was once known as the gangster of love, but some people called him Maurice.
Oh, no.
Once again, because he's a picker, a grinner, a lover, and a sinner, Jesse Starcher. He's playing music in the sun aboard the Millennium Falcon. You might also call him a joker, a smoker, and a midnight toker.
Has the joke reached its end yet?
And he doesn't want to...
Is it just this infinite loop of torture?
and despite it all, he doesn't want to hurt no one.
Okay, all right. Marjorie Liu, I'm looking at this picture from 2012. And to change the subject here, I want everybody to understand how beautiful this lady is. She reminds me much of a Jessica Biel. It's like almost like her twin sister or something. But anyway, all right, here we go. Mark Brooks. Changing the subject, going on to artistry.
Mel Brooks?
Not Mel Brooks. No, not Mel Brooks. Well, I'm sure you'll quote him tonight at some point, which I still have homework to do, by the way. I haven't watched a single one of them damn references that you posted to my wall. They're still there. Don't worry. I'll get to them, I promise. All right, so Mark Brooks has worked on Marvel Age, Cable and Deadpool, Ultimate X-Men. He provided cover art for the Spider-Man spinoff, Anya Corazon, Aranya, The Heart of the Spider, and later worked on The Amazing Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man, New X-Men, The Initiative, and Secret Empire. So it looks like he's been around since, I want to say 2009, at least the late 2000s. So just sit back, relax as I tell you a tale coming straight out of the heart of the Empire. All right, here we go. It is a period of unrest in a galaxy oppressed by the Empire's unrelenting brutality. There's little hope for change. Remember, this takes place between episodes 4 and 5. Nonetheless, rebels have banded together to fight back against such corruption. While the rebellion grows in power, Imperials fight to crush any hope of for an overthrow. With the Empire's hands full, the opportunities for crime are endless. Han Solo has taken a step back from the rebel cause, returning his focus to what he does best, smuggling. Untrusting by nature, he's skeptical of any who cross his path. Unfortunately for him, he cannot stay under the radar forever. And when Princess Leia approaches him with an offer too good to refuse, Han finds himself once again working for the rebellion alongside his co-pilot, Chewbacca. His mission is racing the Millennium Falcon in one of the most notorious races in the galaxy, the Dragon Void, which is probably a name of at least one metal song out there, as a cover to find a mysterious rebel spy who may have turned traitor. But with the race's explosive start, Han discovers he may be in for more than he bargained for. Soon, Han is just one of 4 pilots remaining in the race. Han finally finds the informant, a rebel spy named Bot, who's not a robot, ladies and gentlemen, but he's named Bot, and brings him aboard the Falcon. But when Han finds the next target, he quickly discovers that Chewbacca and the mysterious rebel spy by the name of Dore, a lady feline character, I guess that's probably the best way. It looks like a humanoid cat, by the name of Dore, have an old score to settle. But setting their differences aside, Han picks up another informant at the same site, a person by the name of Aran and their bodyguard, Uil. After a series of close run-ins with the Empire, all 3 Alliance informants and potential traitor are finally now aboard the Falcon. Now Han must discover the identity of the spy while completing the race. but the traitor has already started killing as Iran is found dead. After further investigation, Han figures out that Bot, the unassuming alien that was his first pickup, was the killer, and after stating that fact in front of the rest of the crew, Bot leaps forward, intent to kill Han, but is unsuccessful. It is soon surmised Bot was actually brainwashed to do the killing. It did not know what he was doing. Meanwhile, as other racers are forced to make a decision on halting the race at the insistence at the overwhelming forces of the Empire, Han sacrifices his chance at winning, allowing a fellow racer by the name of Lu Ray Ano, who he had grown to know and respect, win the race. When all was thought lost, Lu instantly returned with her people, allowing the racers to escape and Han to complete his mission. So that is all 5 issues of this series in a nutshell.
I think the most standout aspect of this book was the fact that his confidence is shook at the beginning of it. This really had a very cinematic quality to it, not only because it was a great space race, but also because at the beginning you have a hero whose confidence has been broken. You know, Han won't take any job. He was very leery. He was very reserved now. Right. Well, I mean, he's a wanted criminal by the Empire. He's probably one of, he's high up there for his part in the Battle of Yavin. And so he not only owes Jabba the Hutt a bunch of money and there's a bounty on his head, but he's a wanted criminal by the Empire. And so he's paranoid and he has no confidence and he won't take any jobs. And so he's at this crossroads where it's like he's got to do something to make money, but he feels like there's no jobs out there for him because everything is a risk and he doesn't want to get killed.
Yeah, he's a marked man.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, that's an interesting place to find this character who's known for his bravado. Mm-hmm. This is the guy who runs through the Death Star chasing a squadron of stormtroopers. This is the guy who charged at a fleet of Star Destroyers and then landed on an asteroid, who flew into an asteroid field.
Yeah.
This is the guy who led the Battle of Endor. He's not a general. He has no military experience, but his bravado and his courage brought him to all of those events. Yeah. And we talked before about what characters are popular. Part of what makes Han popular is, it's funny, a bunch of us, we're going to talk about this on TV Party tonight and on an upcoming episode. One of the reasons why I think we all liked Cobra Kai was its discussion of what it is to be a man. Mm-hmm. And I think when you're a kid and you look at Han Solo, unless you're really enamored with the space wizardry stuff that is being a Jedi and Luke Skywalker and all of that, a lot of us looked at Han Solo as kind of a role model. He was a take no shit, cool as the other side of the pillow, space cowboy. And a lot of us looked at him and said, that's who we want to be. Mm-hmm. Make our own rules, live our own life, and not be bound by society's rules. That's where Han is when you meet him in A New Hope. And that's really where Han is when you see him in The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. That's not where he is at the beginning of this comic.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really fascinating. And I never thought Han was the most well-developed character. Han to me was always, I made this joke about Denzel Washington in Training Day on an episode of On Trial, but the character that Denzel Washington plays in Training Day is all dick and balls. He's just dick and balls all over the screen. Okay, I said this on Trial. It was as if his only acting direction in that movie was take off your pants and swing your dick around and recite dialogue. And eventually, they just used the takes where he had his pants on. But and that was kind of the way Harrison Ford, George Lucas had directed or not directed, as the case may be, Han Solo. It was like Harrison Ford just was all charisma. Mm-hmm. He was all charisma and no character. He's just kind of is a force of nature in in those 3 movies. There's not, Luke's the one that goes on the hero's journey. Han's just kind of there, but he's so cool it doesn't matter. And I mean, some would argue that Han starts off as this sort of scoundrel character, and he has he's the pirate with a heart. He comes to love Leia and everything else. But again, I think I don't know how well developed really that is. this is a much richer iteration of Han Solo, I thought. And I was much more interested in his story once they started him off as sort of a broken man.
Yeah. Finding his place. I think that's one of the things that Marjorie said was he was trying to find his, let me see if what that quote was again. She said that he was trying to figure out who he was. I brought up the whole interaction with Lou Rayano, the pilot.
Fish face.
Fish girl. I'm looking at this issue 4 here, where, he kind of has a discussion with her. Han Solo as a lone, that's kind of the guy we got to know. He's a loner, and especially I think in that first movie, he is like, he doesn't care but other than what he wants. He wants some money. If he's going to do something for somebody else, he better get something out of it. I think his interaction with the fish face racer is a great way to kind of make him realize that he needs to be a part of a family, because she's like this. I don't know if there's a Yoda character in this comic, it's her. She's the one with all the great knowledge. She's the one that speaks kind of in riddles and makes you kind of realize, okay, well, look at what's around you and actually understand what's going on. She's taking part of this race. She actually asked him, what do you get out of this when you win this race? And he's like, it's money. You win a lot of money, but she's like, well, you got to understand, you're taking this adventure with these other people. You're taking this adventure with these other racers, and you become somewhat of like a family. The race is what it's all about, and enjoying and doing this is where it's at, and the people, and living it up with the people that you're with. That's kind of the thing I got out of it. It was like, okay, here's his maturation, I guess you would say, and the understanding that the people that he's surrounded with, this might be the seed for him understanding that Luke, Leia, and C-3PO, even though there's points where he can't stand them, this great adventure he's been on throughout the Star Wars movies, he's coming to realize that these are people that he is bound with and can consider a family. So there's my long-winded explanation of what I kind of took out of it as for Han Solo's character development. Was there anything that felt kind of like it stood out to you more that you were more interested in? Did you want? I tell you what, I definitely wanted him to win the race. I didn't care about the mission. I wanted him to win the race.
Well, I thought that was the fun aspect of this thing, was that he was never meant to win the race. And he was like, no, if I'm going to be in it, I'm going to win it, and trying to figure out a way to save both the girl and Robin.
Yeah.
This is a Batman reference, everybody.
I hear you. I get it.
All right, good. Moving on. I like the race aspect of it. I like the fact that I don't think you could have had one without the other in this story. My only real complaint about it is that the mystery of who the traitor was. First of all, I saw
right through that shit.
Yeah, I was like, it's gonna be the pansy alien. It has to be.
Yeah.
But then their reasoning was like, oh, he was Winter Soldiered. He was hypnotized. I would have liked a little further explanation, a little further exploration of that part of the story. They kind of rushed through that. It was like, well, we have to address this in some way. He's hypnotized and he has a needle in his arm and we're done. Like, all right.
Yeah.
I also would have liked to have seen a better payoff. It's like when they get the Death Star blueprint, you actually see what they have. You see what the effect is of why they were risking all of these lives to get this battle station blueprint. There was a visible payoff. You see nothing about that here. Yeah, it was like, oh, it's a list, and that's it.
Here's your list.
Yeah, here's your grocery list. We need butter, we need egg. We need blue milk. All right.
Man, I don't want to echo your criticism because, yeah, I knew who this was going to be right out at the beginning. How about the little glow ball thingies that kept following Han around? I mean,
that had a payoff to it. It was fine. I mean, I just, I prefer traditional story structures. I prefer if you introduce things, pay them off, give them a reason for being in the story. Just don't introduce something and be like, here's a fun thing that I threw out there. Everything should be working. Everything should be working towards furthering the story. And the little light bright, glow ball things actually move the story forward in a way. So
okay,
I was fine with that.
How about the Stargate at the end? Did that feel like it fit?
I feel like you've asked me that question before. This is not the first time we've dealt with a Stargate.
I've not asked you anything about a Stargate before on this
No,
podcast.
you have. Oh my God, I'm having deja vu because I feel like we've had this conversation and you keep saying you've never brought up a Stargate before, and I keep telling you have.
I don't. I have no idea what you're talking about. But I mean, Stargate in a Star Wars episode or Star Wars book.
It's fantasy. I mean, they can throw anything they want. Dude, they threw like a space squid in there.
They did, which was pretty cool. It was like a space jellyfish that pops out of nowhere.
Yeah, which made me think. Like, I'm wondering if this, because in the trailers for the Solo movie, there's like some sort of space octopus, and I'm wondering, and I was looking to see if there was any, if the script for the movie influenced this story at all, or this story at all influenced the script. But the script was written like years ago, by I believe Lawrence Kasdan's son.
Very well could have been. Were there any characters in here that, other than Han and Chewie and some of the standards, that were like, surprise, you've heard of this one, this is a deep cut character, none of that? Like that no. Doré, has she ever appeared in anything before?
Maybe. I feel like I've seen her before, but not enough that it would that I could remember.
Well, they ended that on like a cliffhanger too of the of I think like issue 3, and I was like, am I supposed to be like oh shit, that's Catface? I didn't know who the hell it was.
Oh my god, it's one of the Thundercats.
So let's talk about the movie. And I mean, what are you wanting to see? Have you watched a lot of the trailers? Have you looked into spoilers?
Trailers, yes. Spoilers, not so much. Not like the Deadpool spoilers that I read to you online.
Motherfucker.
Turns out they were true.
Yes, it does.
So I don't know a tremendous amount about this movie. I know it's going to be like a heist. It's supposed to be like a.
He's a smuggler, man. It's got to be.
It's essentially it's supposed to be the great train robbery in space.
Have you heard much of the? Have they done? Oh shit!
Currently at 70% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's what I was looking for. Rotten Tomatoes score 70%. That's kind of low.
Yeah. I think a lot of the critics are just kind of over Star Wars at this point. Yeah, it's at 71.
Okay.
Which, by comparison, Deadpool's at 83, Avengers is at 84, Life of the Party 39, Breaking In 25. So there you go. Rampage 52.
Well, and I've heard Rampage was good,
but Cobra Kai 100%.
Well, fuck yes. Now we're dealing with people who know what they're talking about.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I enjoyed the book. I mean, what do you say? Do you think this is something that is absolutely necessary for a Han Solo fan to get their hands on?
Yeah, I think if you're a Star Wars fan, I would highly recommend this book. This was an excellent story. I remember when we did the Princess Leia one, and we all, and other than Ivan,
oh, shit.
Other than the great laughs it produced, because of Ivan,
gag reels aplenty.
Yeah, gag reels aplenty. It was so simple of a story. Like I remember us all being kind of nonplussed about it. This one I was actually excited to talk about. There was really something here for me to dig into. And so for a 5-issue miniseries, one story told over 5 issues, I thought it was great. I thought it was great fun. I thought it was very cinematic. This is something I would like to see on the big screen or on a television show. And so that all works for me. And I thought it was a great way to handle the character. I think making Han vulnerable and having him overcome that vulnerability was a great take on the character.
All right. Very good. Well, I enjoyed it. I'm not a Star Wars fan other than, I enjoy watching the movies. I'm definitely not as hardcore as a lot of the other friends that I know. But I would say Han Solo is one of my top characters that I've always loved from these films. So there is something to offer here, I think, for somebody to understand where Han Solo is coming from, especially in the setting that we're talking about here between episodes 4 and 5. And clearly, if you're a purist and you want to know what's in canon and you've got to know everything out there that's possibly or potentially canon for the Star Wars universe, you'll want to get your hands on this and read it. So, all right, very good. Well, let's get into plugs, man. Let's hear what the schedule has in store for us.
All right. For those of you who are listening to this on YouTube before it gets released in its edited form on the 28th of May, today, the 21st of May, our source material, Deadpool versus X-Force, show dropped. Of course, that's synergizing with our Damn You Hollywood review of Deadpool 2, which will air on May 22nd. On May 23rd is our coverage of Five Finger Death Punch, and to gear up for that, we have released a series of Metal Hammer of Doom extras featuring 3 separate Five Finger Death Punch videos: Bad Company, The Way of the Fist, and Champagne.
Yeah.
Just added to the calendar on Thursday. Now, I don't typically want to do 4 shows a week anymore. 4 long shows like this. I don't mind the micro shows as much, but 4 long shows tends to be a bit tiresome for me. Mm-hmm. But I'm so excited about Cobra Kai and so are our guests that are going to be coming on the show. One of which here is Jesse. Another one is from our Canadian office, Andrew Graham, our totally 80s correspondent, Pat Mullen. We're all very excited about Cobra Kai. We all just watched it. Pat watched it a few weeks ago, but we all couldn't wait to talk about it. So we're gonna throw another show on the calendar and another shrimp on the bobby. We're gonna do TV party tonight, Cobra Kai, May 24th.
You look at that panel, just real quick. You look at that panel. We have, I know you were in martial arts. I was in it for like maybe a year. We know Andrew Graham has been in martial arts, and he still is at this point. And we know that Totally 80s Pat Mullen not only is he a fan of everything 80s, which makes him perfect for that podcast, but I know
he's an amateur boxer.
Yes. Yeah. So there you go, man. It's going to be some fun. You know what my son was asking me, because I had told him I was in karate. He's like, do you have a belt? And I'm like, yes, I do, son. You think I got rid of that gi? You think I got rid of that green belt or that orange belt with the 2 white stripes on it? It's around here somewhere. So I can't wait to talk about it. It's a great show too, by the way. So we're
going to be getting my son involved in karate very shortly. So.
I think there are a lot of people. If YouTube Red doesn't release this on DVD or does something to let a lot more people get a hold of it, it's a shame, because it would probably spike a lot of karate memberships.
I was going to say, I really want to go back now and do a commentary over The Karate Kid. It's a great movie.
I feel you, dude. I really do. Hopefully we can make some time to do that.
It's actually, I think, available on Amazon Prime.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
So, and then look for anything extra that we might throw up, any commentaries or micro shows. I've got a little personal project of my own. I'm going to do it by myself. I don't want to talk about it just yet until I actually do it. Just, there might be some surprises headed your way on the Rattlesnake Broadcasting Network. Some over dramatizations, if you will.
If you will. There's a local wrestler that introduced a Wheel of Fortune game at a indie show, but it was called the If You Wheel.
Nice. Next week, this show will air in its edited form with gag reel on the Rattlegion Broadcasting Network. It will be synergizing with our Damn You Hollywood review of Solo, a Star Wars story. And then we'll be reviewing on the Metal Hammer of Doom, Galactic Empire 2. So go ahead and give that a shot. Just to let you know what's happening in the month of June. On June 7th, Cloak and Dagger from the Marvel Studios will be debuting on Freeform. We'll have a Cloak and Dagger show. We're going to look at the trade paperback called Lost and Found, which I think is like one of the first runs of Cloak and Dagger, if I remember correctly. So keep losing my place in the calendar. So check that out. We'll have a Cloak and Dagger ready to go up the same week Cloak and Dagger debuts on Freeform. Alexis Haina hopefully will be back with us on June 11th for Kingdom Come.
Yeah, there was a lot of interest for that book.
And that same week have you kept up on Krypton? Are you going to be ready to talk about it on
June 12th? Yeah, well, I can tell you I have not watched one episode, but I will be ready, sir.
Okay. I binge watched almost the entire season, and this Wednesday, I believe, is the season finale.
Do you want to say have you been intrigued, or...
You know, I was kind of on it. Like, you know, for the most part, I was like, it's fine. You know, it'll be something to talk about. Then there was this discussion that took, you know, I mean, first of all, you're a big fan of time travel.
Yeah, so trust me. I've heard elements of this, like the first couple episodes, and I'm kind of excited.
I don't want to give too much away, but there's a discussion over whether or not they should allow Brainiac to capture Kandor City, which is...
Yeah, that's the one he puts in a bottle and shrinks.
Right. Yeah. So it's the question, do we prevent the destruction of Kandor City which will inevitably prevent the rise of Superman? Or do we allow it to happen, kill millions of people, but Superman will be born? And then the other question, do we kill Zod, or do we allow him to live?
I cannot wait to get into this stuff. So that sounds fun.
That was the high point of the season. I had to pause it and tell my wife about it.
Wonderful.
Yeah, she didn't give a shit. But anyway,
now talk to me about your royal wedding. I'll teach you.
That's right. We're gonna look at Fantastic Four, the Trial of Galactus run, and that's gonna be the same week that we review The Incredibles 2. We've got a Justice League America book called Salvation Run that I got from Ollie's.
Oh yeah, baby.
And we're going to look at that the same week as Jurassic Park, Fallen Kingdom. And you might be asking yourself, not only is this my beautiful house, but...
This is my beautiful chair.
But what does Salvation Run have to do with Jurassic World? Absolutely nothing. It was I just threw it on the calendar because I didn't know where else to put it. So there.
That's good.
So that's what's going on in the month of June, plus a whole bunch of Metal Hammer reviews.
All right. Very good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you can go give that Rattlich in Broadcasting Network Facebook page a like to stay up on top of all the great content that we have to offer. That's usually where it's going to be posted at. So all you need to do is go to Facebook, type in RADULICH, find the Rattlich in Broadcasting Network Facebook page, give it a like, and anything that comes up, you should have instant access to right there on Spreaker.com. That's where we call our home, but we're also on all sorts of different platforms, podcast platforms, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio. I use a podcast grabber. I don't know what the hell they call them. An app called Overcast. It's great, and you can subscribe to us and get everything right there automatically. So check that out, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's about it. I'm ready to get off of here. Have a good one, ladies and gentlemen. That's Mark Rattlich. My name's Jesse Starcher. Source material out.
Loving myself makes me wanna sing no. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Told me get my act together. Now I got my act together. Yeah. Now I made it through the weather. Better days are gonna get better. I'm so happy. The carbon night is gone. I'm moving on. I'm so happy that it's over now. The pain.
Well, let's get this party started.
Let's get it started here. Let's get retarded in here.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Are you ready to get retarded?
Retarded. Because reading's for dummies.
What is Dark Wolverine? Was Wolverine too happy?
Have you ever heard of Daken, Wolverine's son?
No, the band Daken. Yes.
No. Okay. Me and Ronnie actually did a what if story that focused on Daken. But yes, here you go.
The band?
No, Mark. Who was his first wife's name? It was Americo.
I believe it was Whitesnake.
Oh, never mind. His mission.
Oh, Chewbacca.
Lou Rayano. Liu Kang showed up. Bicycle kicked the shit out of him. Go. Crash test dummies.
There was this girl who. Sorry. Anyway. It's not a source material podcast until I start singing.
I hope everybody just one day takes a page out of my book and everybody you interact with makes you explain every reference that you make.
You know, that already happens. No one understands the fuck I'm talking about. I spent half my life explaining myself.
Still haven't learned.
Nope.
All right.
Look, I don't need to get on the world's page. You all need to get on mine.
Oh, is that how it works? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Gotcha.
Hi, it's Jamie, Progressive's Employee of the Month, 2 months in a row. Leave a message at the... Hi, Jamie. It's me, Jamie. I just had a new idea for our song about the Name Your Price tool. So when it's like, tell us what you want to pay, hey, 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 and the trombone goes, blah, 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 and you say, we'll help you find coverage options to fit your budget. Then we just all do finger snaps while a choir goes, savings coming at ya, savings coming at ya. Yes? No? Maybe? Anyway, see you at practice tonight. I got new lyrics for the rap break.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.